recording right now. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let me close everything out here. All right, guys. So using Epic, can everybody see my screen? Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see my screen. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so using Epic to maximize on productivity. So I'm gonna take you guys through a little bit more on the enrollment process, managing enrollments, especially in leadership and in management. But first, I do want to kind of touch on something that Brian and Bruce and I had talked about a little bit this past week on presentations, adding the benefits fact sheet. So, as you guys know, right now, our current process with benefits fact sheet, we know that this is a tool that we utilize whenever we are presenting to a decision maker, making sure that we are sitting in front of the right person. When it comes to presenting, that has the capability of making the decisions for us to come in and provide benefits for them. And so our current process right now, I think we just made this change in the last 4 months, maybe, of requiring the benefits fact sheet to be a part of the Section 125 paperwork before I can approve it. Before it can be approved, it is required with the 125. That's going to be already, okay? But what we're wanting to change and make the shift to is making sure, think about it, if we are in the field, if we are presenting to decision makers, and we should already be using and utilizing the benefits fact sheet. If we're using this at presentation, why are we submitting the benefits fact sheet when we're closing the 125? Really, the benefits fact sheet should be utilized already at the time of presentation. And so Brian, Bruce, we are all wanting to shift where we are submitting the benefits fact sheet when we close the 125. We want to start utilizing it now to help us close the 125. And so what does that look like? So let's go back over here. When we are at presentation and we're presenting, we fill out the form with the decision maker. We're going over the questions. When we leave, let's say we do not close the 125, right? This is a scenario that we're talking about is when we present and they're like, hey, I need to think about it a little bit more. Let me just talk to my payroll admin. I'm really interested. However, we already provide Aflac. I know that you're just here to enhance, but let me just get with my office manager. Let's make sure we're on the same page with everything. She's interested, but maybe if you can come back and follow up with us next month. So we're talking about a presentation after where we have not closed the account. So that benefits fact sheet, it is being already used at the presentation. We are wanting the benefits fact sheet to be attached into the lead after we've presented to them. And as you guys can see on my screen, let me show you how, and then let me show you the why and the benefits and why we should do it. So adding it into the benefits fact sheet, a lot of us think that, hey, we have to do this. I know I had some essays upload them. Tara's team is already, I know they started doing it. They started doing a couple more today and tagging me in it. And I really liked the way that they had, and I'm talking with her, is there's a lot of benefits in doing it because the thing is it gives us access to build more rapport. So obviously we have on there like, okay, for this specific example, the supplemental benefits, they already have Aflac. So that's something additional we can build rapport when we go back out to follow up with that account. Also, if somebody wasn't there at the presentation, you may have somebody additional in leadership with you, or if they were not there at the presentation and you as a manager are going to follow up on that specific lead, it gives the correct decision maker name or all the people that are involved in the decision making, because some people don't always update accurate information. Or sometimes they don't give like the full totality of who all is involved in the decision making process on the specific lead. So that's another reason why we want to be able to add that in there, because it can help us take that follow up hot lead from presentation to close if it's something we're going back and revisiting. Okay. And also, now let's look at what that looks like in the field after you've presented. You don't have to wait Friday in office to upload this information. One of the biggest things is Fridays is already busy enough. And how can we eliminate doing less admin work on Friday when we have capability of doing it right there in the field from our phones? Okay, so here's a picture on the left side. This is a lead. When I click on the lead, I scroll down. There's actions file. So if I click on file, it then brings me to the chatter to the right. You can see that chatter. And if I want to attach something, it allows me to take the picture of the benefits fact sheet if I have a paper form. If I have an iPad, all I got to do is screenshot that benefits fact sheet and airdrop it to my iPhone. However you navigate your field activity. Some people do it from their iPad, some people do it from their phone, but you have the capability of just taking a picture or uploading that photo right away into the lead. So now that information is housed in the lead for our ability to be able to follow up more effectively. Okay. And so that's what that looks like. And so one of the things also is we talked about what now that we've added it, let's fast forward a little bit to maybe a couple Fridays, a couple weeks afterward, where we're now trying to follow up, work our routes, look at what our 10 blocks looks like next week. And so when we are pulling our map up and we're pulling our hot follow-ups and we're pulling our presentations not closed, right? Because we have so many leads, because we talk to so many people, because we like it's like all this information we're getting cannot be housed in our head. There is no way possible. You guys already know that when it comes to managing your leads, you're on the research. There's like so many times that you've stopped by, you've followed up. There's so many different activities that we have where we have to sometimes go by a business 5 times in a year before we can actually close it. But now, if we pull here in our layer of our maps, presentations not closed, and I pull up and I see this specific lead that I had presented to, if I go and click on the lead, I now have the capability to just pull back up. Here it is, the information. I look at the benefits fact sheet. And, here is something that I would like to coach on because I know when we close the account, management is and agents are doing this. You're putting on there, AD was present or new agent was present at the time of close. This is something you can also add in here when you're adding the benefits fact sheet. If you tag your director or whoever, also tagging in who was present with you at the presentation, which gives you guys knowledge of and paints the picture of what took place at that presentation so you can more effectively follow up on that presentation not closed, okay, on that lead. So this is new. This is something that we are wanting us to start effective today. So guys, if you have any benefits fact sheets out there next week when you're in the field, please make sure this is something that we are starting to do, adding it in. You don't have to wait in office on Friday, obviously, because we have access to everything from our phones. But now this does eliminate us, even when we close the account. Now, I know a lot of us are trying to like scan everything together, put it all together, so that way we can attach it in. But really, when we do close the account, that file stays with the lead. So it automatically goes into the worksite account. The billing info is already there. All you now have to do is submit the 125 paperwork. And another thing is when you're filling out the billing information sheet and you're really nailing down that close, guys, the benefits fact sheet already has a lot of the payroll information on there. So it really saves you the time from having to ask those additional questions from the bookkeeper or whoever. And I did ask, and I did hear something back when was talking to the field this week. Is sometimes we are catching ourselves because it's a requirement for 125 paperwork that we're only filling it out when we're submitting the 125 paperwork, just because it's required for me to approve. So I really want to challenge and shift the culture and how we're utilizing this because it should not be used as just something I have to fill out because Angela won't approve it if it's not in the 125 paperwork. This should be something that is used at the time of presentation. And if you are that person, if your team is that team, we have to make the change today. New year 2025, let's make some adjustments how we can better maximize and be effective in the field. And this is definitely one of those ways that we should and we will be using and pushing and gearing toward as we effective after this Zoom. Okay, so that's adding it in at the time of presentation. And I know Ryan also mentioned where this stemmed from was the contests that we are awarding. So at kickoff, which is about 6 weeks away, super exciting. But that was the reason why we had brought this to our attention is when we're doing our contests, when we're doing presentations, where is the document? Like, if it doesn't live in Epic, then it doesn't exist. So instead of it just being data percentages, like now we actually have facts and data that we can work off of to help increase our cases closed. All right. So now we're going to talk a little bit more we just talked a little bit about what field activity walk-ins presentations look like in terms of utilizing Epic. Now we're going to focus and hone in more on maximizing opportunities in Epic. I know right now, majority, I would probably say 100% of my team, maybe 99% of my directors are managing their enrollments through spreadsheets. They're going into Epic, pulling their enrollments this month. GAs, you guys are probably doing this. You have like a Google Sheets or an Excel spreadsheet that's shared, a calendar, and a lot of us are managing our enrollments through that means. Where what's difficult in doing it that way is there is, with the capability that Epic has, it's difficult for us from literally director to Brian Cannington's perspective to AD. Like if I am trying to see, okay, in a list view, because you got to think with the amount of account, we have 2,500 worksite accounts as an agency. Um, how can I see what accounts that I have that are available this month, that are available and are actually enrolled? Or how do I know if my teams are going out there making contact, whether in person, over the phone? How do I know they made contact? If they are not interested, what's the reason that they're not interested? And so the purpose of this is to help you guys better streamline the management of your opportunities. And so right now, in Epic, it does give us the capability in opportunities, this tab that's selected, and this is for everybody. Everybody has this accessibility. Even my new agents, when you guys have several cases that you guys have closed, when you go into opportunities, you're going to select by enrollments this month. Forget the other thing after that. I'm going to show you how to get there. But enrollments this month, you're going to click on that. And this is where it really gives you that entire list view of all your enrollments that are open for the month of January. Okay. And so from here, enrollments that are available, there are ways that we can change statuses. As you guys can see on this specific picture right here, the stage says ready for enrollment. So every single opportunity is obviously going to be ready for enrollment. I'm going to break away from this in a little bit. Hang on, let me see. Yeah, I'm going to break away from this a little bit after I go through this stage, but I'm going to kind of walk you guys through the different ways that we can edit our columns, edit the stages, schedule enrollments. And so first and foremost, let's just talk about the three different stages of opportunities. So remember, enrollments is AKA opportunities. Okay, enrollments, AKA opportunities. So there's three stages to our enrollments or our opportunities. The three stages are, oh, let me get back here, are going to be enrolled. Right, first one you saw was ready for enrollment, enrolled, and not enrolled. Those are three stages to our enrollments. Okay. So when I am actually, yeah, look, I'm gonna go back. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go back. Gerald, when it comes to your opportunities, right now, how obviously you have GAs, people in leadership that you have help you work these specific enrollments. Kind of paint the picture for us a little bit as to what that looks like for you and your team and how you use Epic to make sure that people have access to the same things that you do and how you go about doing that.
Well, the first thing I do is I have to go to the opportunities tab and I get it and I'll go to really the print view and I'll put it on a spreadsheet first. That way I can just get a big bird's eye view. I can filter it however I want. So once I know what's coming up, I'll take I'll filter it by city. And so what that's going to do is that's going to chunk all of the opportunities in that city. So for example, I may have three opportunities in Douglas. I don't want to make three trips. I want to knock them all out with one trip. Or I may have two in Kingsland. I may have five in Waycross. I know, well, first thing I'm going to do, if I've got five in Waycross, that's going to be my first place I go to. I want to get as much done in as little bit of time, so that I'm getting more opportunities set with least amount of time. And then, so once I do, my leadership, we decide who's going to set up what. Well, and then from that point, I make sure that GA, so I only have one GA. I make sure that GA has access to everything because I need her help. And then right now I only have one essay, so everything that's mine is theirs and theirs is mine. So we're one whole group. So I share everything with them. It's just a flip of a switch. Takes less than 15 or 20 seconds to do that. And then now they have access to everything I do. So that way they're not having to hinge on me and pivot on me on everything they do. That makes sense. And so I don't want
Yes.
to be a bottleneck. If they're waiting on me to tell them what to do, then they're going to be struggling. So I basically by giving them access to the opportunities that they're going to set up, that they're going to be responsible for their team or their opportunities. I need to be able to give them access to it to view it, work it, add it to their routes, and even to be able to communicate within the account on the account
Okay.
chatter.
Good stuff. I'm going to demonstrate in a little bit once I share your screen. I don't want to do the back and forth, but make you host and we go through and we demonstrate how to share. And then we're going to show what that looks like on there. But one of the things in terms of preparation, um, sharing the account, what it does, guys, is it allows the person that you share it with to pull all policies in the Epic format that it lists it in and policy details right here. Let me get rid of my annotation in their details. And Friday, when I'm in office, when you share, uh, I'm not even going to ask, but I know if I were to ask how many of my ADs have people or admins have to still print off worksite management reports for you and your teams, I can guarantee you I have about 50% of you guys still out there that are doing worksite management reports. Gerald, do you still use management reports?
The only time I use worksite management report is when I'm reconciling deductions.
Okay, got it. And I think Tara was she also said the same thing. And I can't remember who else I had talked to, but they also said the same thing. Gabriel, I remember Gabriel saying he does the online billing invoice. I also like that as a thing to print off for your people that are working those specific accounts because it at least shows you paid 2 dates. And it kind of gives you how it's shown on the bill. However, that still can sometimes trip you up in terms of actually enrolling. So what he's talking about when he does is when he goes through and he shares the accounts, which we'll show you here in a little bit. I can't do it because I don't have this list view at the moment. But under the account, under the details, guys, when you do have access or in leadership and you are going to work the accounts instead of one person printing off, 60 accounts or 30 accounts, everybody that is working that house account has their own capability of coming over here down to policies, printing and it will print in list view exactly how it's listed on here. Okay. Landscape really is the best way because I think it helps us identify a little bit more in terms of policy descriptions, but everything is right here. And I mean, the thing about the difference between management reports and policy details in Epic is we all know that that management report is very antiquated. I mean, like the lines sometimes in the columns aren't lining up. Sometimes people have a middle initial or a different last name, and it'll put their name at the first page of the management report, and then maybe their other policies on the third page of the management report. And sometimes we end up having quality issues, declines, or cancels simply because they were listed differently on a management report. When here in Epic, it has everybody listed alphabetically. Okay. Gerald, do you do this for everybody on your team for that specific enrollment?
Well, sometimes I get them together, but anybody who has access to that account can go in there and print. So it's
Okay.
different each month, each week. Just depends on what's
Okay.
going on.
But it eliminates the bottleneck. I just heard you say you don't always
Yes,
do
yeah.
it.
I don't
So,
want everybody. I don't want every. I don't. Yeah, I don't want people dependent on me to get their
okay.
job done.
Got it. Got it. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Okay. So from here, now we're at the point of delegating out who's going to be working what. I know we have some agents that are going to be working certain things. You guys can also, if you're wanting them, you could share with them. You don't have to just share with leadership, but sometimes people just want to share with leadership because in that way they can lead that specific enrollment. But here we are in opportunities in this list view for this month. I want to focus and hone in on the column stage. So we said there's three stages: ready for enrollment, and a ready for enrollment. Let's say, for an example, we've sent somebody out. We've sent Lori Quick. She went out. She went to go in person to Waycross Journal Herald, and she's getting ready to schedule that specific enrollment in her phone. Now, she's been shared. She can pull it up. She's working that. And she goes in Waycross Herald. She is going to edit that opportunity. She has it scheduled. Let's say she's got it scheduled for January 10th. Okay, January 10th, or excuse me, January 16th at 10 a.m. She would go through and she can click on the calendar that specific day and click on that specific time to go ahead and schedule that enrollment. And what that does is, and I'm going to show you guys, Waycross Journal Herald, where are we at? Here it is. I'm going to do it on my end from the desktop so you can kind of see what that looks like from both. Okay, I just showed you what it looked like, but I'm going to go through enrollment and date. I'm going to schedule it for the 16th, and the time is going to be 16th at 10 a.m. Okay, and I'm going to save. So that's desktop view. Okay, so it's ready for enrollment. Now, the enrollment date is January 16th, 10 a.m. Saved, done. We know that that's ready for enrollment. Okay. And then what you'll find is that if I'm a SA or a GA, I'll have the specific opportunity, and it right here on the enrollment date column, you'll be able to see all the enrollment dates listed for all the opportunities I have for that specific month. Okay. So that's the first one we're talking about, is when we've scheduled an enrollment. The next thing is when we finished enrolling, and we'll touch on this a little bit more, but when we finished the enrollment, we would change it to enrolled. And when we finished, we've enrolled, we go here, we could see on this specific opportunity how much AP I've written. So if I'm an SA, okay, we're done with this enrollment. Let me see how much we've written and we've uploaded. It's got 11,533. So we did pretty good at this enrollment. Okay. So that's enroll. That's the second status. You don't even have to add the AP in there. It automatically does it for you. As you guys upload applications, it counts that AP for you. Then the third stage of enrollments is not enrolled. You have those accounts that are like, hey, this month is not a good month. I mean, we are slammed. It's after holiday season. We're trying to catch back up. Please follow up with us next month. That would be enrollment date change. If they're like, hey, right now we only have one employee, we don't have any employees that are new, less than three employees enrolled, or they're just unwilling, like, hey, I really, we're not interested right now this month. You guys just came 6 months ago, and you guys saw everybody. It just come back up, come back and see us in 6 months. So we would change it to not enrolled, and we would pick the specific reason why we are not enrolling. And I know that, here's the thing is not enrolled reason. I know I don't like that it gives us limited options. However, we can just put unwilling to set up the enrollment. And I know sometimes that there are, Gerald, I want to ask this because I know you guys are one of the teams that does the best job in housing communication in Epic. So when you do have agents that do go out and try to schedule enrollments, what does that communication look like in Epic for you guys? So you have additional details. Like in this scenario, not everything is listed for us in terms of them not wanting to enroll this month. So what would that look like for somebody on your team that's gone out to try to schedule this?
So how we communicate. So if you go to the account and then all you got to do is hit post on the account chatter, it's automatically going to give you a date and time. So they're just communicating who they spoke with, a brief synopsis of the conversation, and then is this something that's got to be an enrollment change or why? It basically everything you just said. The why are they are struggling. They can't do it this month, but they can check back with them next month. But it's communicated in chatter, and the important thing is it can be communicated in chatter, But the important thing is they've got to tag you. They've got to tag the AD or the GA or the SA because this is really beneficial because AD, you've got a lot on your plate. You're like toting the world on your shoulder, it feels like. So anything that I can delegate out and give them access to, and I don't have to keep up with it, like keep asking, like sending text or emails or phones, like, hey, where are we on this? Where are we on this? So basically, what I'm doing is I'm giving them, empowering them to be able to transfer that information in the area it needs to go. So even though I may not have it at the time, I know where to go find it when it comes time. Many times on our quality call, what comes next? Deductions. I don't know if the what comes next been uploaded or not, but I know where to go check. So that's the biggest thing, and the biggest thing is it's going to send you a notification on your Epic Mobile, but also it's going to communicate, send you an email. So it eliminates any miscommunication. So I'm getting a notification and I'm getting an email, and I may not read the emails. I just as I'm going through my email, I say, hey, okay, Lori went by Waycross Journal Hill. She tried to deliver the deduction, but Sandy wasn't there. Okay, that spurs me. Okay, remind Lori about when's that fall? When are you going to go back, or when are you going to attempt again? It just keeps all the information in front of you in one spot.
Yeah, it's really good. And you jumped ahead on the deduction side, but let's go there because here we are.
Okay.
We already talked about the enrolled status, right? So if we're done enrolling, I just kind of want to show you an example. He said that his team, they put the what comes next forms. I think a large majority of us do already do that. They put the what comes next form in there, and here's an example of what the service looks like after the enrollment is over, right? We know we have to compile deductions. We know we have to get them delivered. And so here is an example where his GA has said, deliver deductions for Thompson Machine to Hurst and Hurst, the CPA, and Allie is entering them in today. There's the WCN. Everything is housed in Epic. Great. And even below that, you see she is the one that posted the roster in Chatter. I know that on Mondays and on Fridays, I am chasing rosters from directors. A lot of the times it's because the SA and the GA doesn't have the capability of posting the rosters themselves into Epic. Or they just send it to in a text message, and we have like floods of group text messaging, even in my phone. Like it takes me sometimes a day to get back to people. I apologize because like text messaging is flooded. But here is somebody that's has the tools and now can post the roster, now can post the deductions, and now has communicated the deductions have been delivered, seeing the entire worksite process be completed from enrolling all the way to being completed, deductions being delivered. And that's the entirety of what that should look like in Epic. Okay. And so one of the greatest things that I know that we aren't doing right now as an agency that I think that we can really take advantage of is the managing the enrollments and putting the dates that they're scheduled in Epic. Because guys, we are shifting to starting to at some point the beginning of either this month or next month. I know we're going to try it with just a couple of teams of a person calling on re-enrollments. Ashley Coleman, she already calls on payroll deductions right now to make sure that they've started. But she's at some point, we're going to try it out to make sure she's calling on re-enrollments for house accounts because we are seeing that we have so many accounts that aren't getting serviced. And so, the question is how how can we maximize on our re-enrollments? If she's making calls, she's going to be updating the information in Epic. So you guys have visibility to that. There's no spreadsheets that she's going to be accessing to, put it on there. You got like, there has to be everything that's like one means of communication where everybody is on board, where Brian can log in and say, oh, hey, here are these enrollments for this team. They've done a really good job working their house accounts. Even the ones that aren't scheduled have reasons why they're not enrolled, right? That's the level of detail that we can manage from, that you guys can manage from, that GAs can manage from when you have other people that are working house accounts or even existing accounts, new cases that we've closed. It doesn't just have to be house accounts, but all of that is going to be tracked in here. But the thing from here is for you guys, what does this look like in terms of scheduled enrollments in routes? So let me backtrack a little bit here. Okay. So now let's go. I just showed you a way where I did it in the desktop, but if you do it from the phone, here is an example of an account that that is scheduled to enroll on Monday at 9 a.m. It's been added in here. Here's an enrollment note. I love this. Spoke with Sarah, need to set up the other locations with the location managers. So today is Friday, enrollment is on Monday. I'm sure probably today it's like, hello, reminder. I'm pulling my enrollments this month. And hang on, I'm going to show you here. Boom. I'm in management. I'm going to pull enrollments this month. Uh, and I see here all my little enrollments that are scheduled. You can see all the pins of all the enrollments in all the different locations. I am clicking on this specific pin, the red pin, Gibson McDonald, enrollment date January 6th, 9 a.m. Oh, reminder, I need to schedule the other locations with the general manager. So now I'm picking up the phone and I'm going ahead and making sure that I have the other locations scheduled for Monday. And let's say we don't have a roster yet. We have the date scheduled, but we need to make sure we have the roster either ready or let's get it from Sarah to get her to email it to us sometime today or at least first thing on Monday. We shouldn't be waiting this late, but I'm just sometimes things do happen. But it just gives you an idea of what level of preparation we're at for that specific enrollment to maximize our opportunity on Monday at 9 a.m. So we're not having to do other things come Monday when all we should be focusing on is going to those locations, getting our rosters out, making sure that we have people and employees coming to us to maximize our time for taking and servicing employees that are in front of us. Okay. And so what does this look like now that we see it on the map from a management perspective? Now for my agents, SAs, and GAs, let's look at what this would look like on your route. So once I know you pull certain layers, right? You pull enrollment. Well, we haven't been, but we are starting. We're going to be starting on enrollments this month because we work around our enrollments. That's the very first thing that we work on. We work around our enrollments and we work around our appointments. That's how we build our routes, enrollments and appointments. And if enrollments are not in your routes, then how are we optimizing our routes? So pull our enrollments, then we're going to pull our appointments, and then we're going to build our routes from there. Your hot follow-ups, your presentation's not closed, that's where we're going to start to build that. Okay. And so from here, once I see that I have this enrollment in this area, I've got it uh, Monday. So it even has an M on here. Hello, an M for Monday. It'll have a T for Tuesday, W for Wednesday. So I'm building my routes for each day. If I click on M for Monday, I see I have Gibson here and I add to my route. Well, when I add to my route and when I go to finalize my route, this is what my route is going to look like. It's going to have all my other leads and then it's going to have my enrollment here. And when you optimize it, now we're actually optimizing our routes with our enrollments included to give us a real time picture. How many times are you getting a phone call from somebody in leadership, or sometimes even your director or Brian? Hey guys, you've only had 2 or 3 walk-ins. Well, I've been enrolling. Well, how do we know you've been enrolling if it's not on your route? Oh, a Google Calendar. Okay, well, does Brian have access to a Google Calendar? Does your director have access to that specific Google Calendar? I mean, it's just there's so many different ways that we're managing and communicating via text message. Like this is the one way where we can do it in a platform that we're already using. Okay, and so from here, once you guys see that it really will help you guys in terms of optimizing better en routes, now I kind of want to go back a little bit in when we are actually looking at our list view. So, Gerald, here's the point where I'm going to kind of pass the baton in terms of screens. I'm going to make you host so I can kind of go through and show them a little bit of what that looks like now as we're Gerald host. So if I'm a GA essay, I'm getting in and I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to have my managers meeting. We're getting ready to go over all the accounts that we have, opportunities that we have this month. Let's see what I need to be working on following up with next week. What do I need to be working on the week after when I'm in that specific area? Because I know that they're getting ready to ask me, where are we at with scheduling this account? Okay. So here we are. I do want to pause 1 second before we do go into that because there is also, for my managers, there is a way that we have the capability of editing the list view of our enrollments. Okay. So editing the list view of these enrollments, right now when I click on the dropdown, the one that you guys are selecting is enrollments this month. Okay. We have the capability of cloning this list view and manipulating it how you want to view it yourself as a director, as a GA, as an SA, as an agent. Okay. Agents have opportunities, agents have list views. So you guys all have your own capability of doing that, but it's only going to show you your own unless the account and everything has been shared with you. So here I am. Gerald had talked about, Gerald, can you go ahead and kind of show us just really quickly what that looks like? Let's just say we've got, you got two GAs. Let's say you're going to only share the first half in these specific locations. So just click on like, the first five so they can see
Okay.
how fast it takes to share an account.
Okay. So what makes it easier, you can see, you can filter it up here on this ribbon, how you want it displayed. So I'm just going to go by owner full name, and I want to display only mine because I can't share anybody else's. So once I have, and I'm going to click on R for Roberts.
Can I pause on that?
Sure.
He just said he can only share his own. GAs, you have your own accounts and own accounts, and you have SAs helping you work them, agents helping you work them. When you share it, it only shares, Gerald, for that opportunity month, correct? Once the opportunity is over, it revokes the sharing capability and they no longer have access to that.
What the pattern I've seen, if I share the opportunity, it'll share the opportunity and the account for 30 days.
30
Now,
days.
sometimes when you share the account, sometimes I've seen it go indefinite 2, 3, 4 months sometimes till you
Okay.
go in there and remove access.
So
Yeah,
what we're wanting to do is just share the opportunity because if we
30
share the
days.
opportunity, it's only going to do 30 days for the entire month. And I know, sometimes we don't want everybody having access to everything all the time. It's just for the months that they are working and servicing, because I know we also work off a reward. We want to reward good behavior. And so this is one of those things. So go ahead, Gerald. He just said he's
So,
sorting it by owner full name to focus on his house accounts. And he clicked
let's
on
just
R
say,
for Roberts.
and I want to assign this one, this account, this account, this account, this account, this account. I want to share this with Tina. So I just come here, and it's just a one top, just Harriet right here. Click on her name, and I want to make sure I hit read and write this. So this allows them to be able to post in chatter. Now they can't make any changes to the account or the research in the account, but they can post in chatter. So once I do that, it's done.
So now she has the capability of posting rosters, posting her WCNs in Epic, any attempts that she's made on scheduling the enrollment. If she has scheduled the enrollment to be able to put that specific date in there, she has the capability of now changing the stage from ready to enroll, or if they're not interested in enrolling this month, changing it from ready to enroll to not enrolled and selecting that specific reason. Okay. And so go ahead.
That one there, that button wasn't working correctly. I think because she already has access. So I'm going to do this. I'm just going to do it again. I'm going to assign these
Share,
three
share,
to.
share it with Lori. Just those three with Lori then, since you've already done, yeah, you already did it with Tina, I think earlier this week after you and I spoke.
Very quick. Read and write. I want her to be able to post. So she already has access. You know what? It might be because we're on Zoom. Let me do this.
I think it's just loading.
But usually once you click that it's shared, it's going to say complete. So if I
Okay.
do this,
Okay.
we'll try it one more time.
Read and write.
Read and write, and then save. For some reason, it's not working. I don't know if it's
It's,
because there we go.
it,
But typically it'll say account successfully shared.
okay. Successfully shared. Okay. Got it. Yeah. Well, you and I just did this and it said successfully shared. So this is that one moment, guys, where you're on a Zoom in front of everybody and it's the one time you need it to work. It doesn't work. I promise it works. It works for Gerald and Tara and all the other ADs out there that share accounts all the time. So, um, anyways, that was a the way that you share. I know if you have one GA and you want to share it with everybody, that obviously it's so much easier. You could just select all and it'll share every single opportunity. And remember, guys, these opportunities aren't just like fresh existing. These are also opportunities where other people in the past may have closed that may not be here anymore, that we have that same capability of going in. You see it on here and you're like, hey, let me go buy this business just like you would any other normal walk-in to try to make active an account that may have been dormant or may have never been enrolled before, right? So, how can I make sure I maximize on every single one of these opportunities on here? And this is exactly the list view that you're wanting to be able to do that from. Okay. And so from here, I'm scrolling over to the right just to kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. Stage is the stage where we were actually talking about here. You have to, I showed you guys how to change the stage. Obviously, we have to do it in the opportunity, but you can also do it on the list view whenever you have enrollment scheduled. You double click the pencil, you click on the day, select the time. So you can also do it from this list view. But now if I'm an agency director and I'm like, okay, let's look at all of my supervisor's accounts. All I need to do is go over to here. If I want to click on, my supervisor, let's just say Nichols. Let's just do Nichols because I know it's up under here. Let's just focus on my GA's accounts so we can figure out where all her enrollments are, what all she's working this month. I need to go through and I'm going to be making these changes here. She should be doing it at this point if we've already adapted that behavior. But I know right now, sometimes in when we have our managers meetings, everything is either written down or it's somewhere right now, but it should be housed in Epic. Okay. And so this is where at this point, if I'm a director, I should at least see a stage for everything. If it's not enrolled, then excuse me, if it's not enrolled, it should be not enrolled the reason. If we have scheduled the enrollment, it should have a date in the enrollment column. If we have these enrollments scheduled, we should have a date in the enrollment date column. And if it's not scheduled because of whatever reason, then we should change it to not enrolled and it should be not enrolled reason. Okay. And this, again, maximizing every opportunity we have. And also to the far right, we have the capability of being able to enforce annual premium. You see what's already existing in here. And so you see what's closing out. And I do want to be able to kind of show you guys. I think I already showed you, after we've enrolled in counts, and I did show you where they've communicated in Epic, how what the enrollment has looked like after the delivering of the deductions and of delivering into Hearst and Hearst. Now, Gerald, I did want to also talk not just about the enrollment process, but one of the biggest things I hear Brian say is how can we track our customer service in Epic, right? Like, how can we do that? Um, Especially, guys, I want you guys to know that there are several times where you're like, hey, I closed this account. Where is it? And you go to look and um, it's not in your accounts anymore. And you closed it maybe a year and a half or a year ago and you just remembered because you're pulling it up or you just thought about it, you forgot about it. And you send me a text message, hey Angela, why can't I see this account anymore? You said I closed it. Well, if you closed it, never enrolled it, and there is no annual premium written out of it, there's no anything that we've done to work that specific close. We all know that there's rules for transferring accounts because there are other people out there working. And so one of the things that we look at when it comes to transferring accounts is how you have serviced those accounts that you have closed previously, but just maybe not have had the opportunity to enroll. So, Joe, can you kind of just talk to us a little bit about um, you talked about WCNs and this specific enrollment process, but what else when it comes to servicing existing accounts? They're not on our routes. They're just, accounts that we've stopped by just to touch base. What does communication for you and your team look like for our customer service on existing accounts?
Well, the only way I know to keep up with that is either in the research option on the account right up under the address or just doing a chatter post on the account. Just the same way we would insert the what comes next instead of inserting a file, we just type in, stopped in, spoke with Dottie. dropped off some candy, some treats, everything's good, no problems, or stopped in and discussed a billing issue, any claims taking place. That's a good way to help keep up with who you filed a claim on in that business. That could be a game changer down the road if they're thinking about dropping you. Oh, let me hold on. Wait a minute. Remember, we paid out several claims here, and you're like, God, I can't think of anything. I can't. Well, all you got to do is go back to that chat, and it might take a minute to find it, scrolling through it, but it's there. The weakest ink is better than the best memory.
Love it. Love it. So just want to show you what he's talking about. So when I come in here, I could see all the activity in Chatter, where we've changed, where they've done deductions, where we've changed the billing again. I know we did have some payment issues on this one. We just got it situated, which you could see here. As they spoke to John and Forrest, explained the situation. They're good with everything. He would get an employee roster email to me as soon, and we'll send an enrollment date change to service in the month of December. You could see the service, May 23rd. Confirmed payroll closes on Wednesdays. Just every time he's literally spoken to the account, he's adding it in here. I know it's a lot of extra level detail, but again, we have these conversations on our quality calls, and sometimes we're like, when did I speak to him? I wrote it down somewhere. Let me look at my notepad. Let me look at this. Like this right here really helps us identify, those specific items that we just can't keep up with everything that we have going on in the field. However, we have one piece of device and it's called our phone and Epic that we already work out of. And so he talked about the feed, and there's also what he talked about the research. So when I go to the account, here's another account. We were just in the feed. I'm in the details. This shows on the phone as much as it shows on the computer. So I'm in the computer on the desktop, and I scroll down research. So when we go to work this account, this owner has got policies on bank budget. And we've got all this stuff listed out. He's got policy numbers. I know that took time for him to do, but guess what? We have policies week after week, guys, week after week, where we go to sit down and enroll somebody at a work site, and they already have policies through bank drafts. We got big accounts in Florida that they have policies on on bank budget also, and we sell them more on we may sell them a cancer policy through worksite or something else, but we forget that we knew that they had policies through bank draft and they wanted to keep it through bank draft. That's just like this is a whole nother level of customer service that we haven't even tapped into, just because it becomes a conversation and it just remains a conversation. It's just in the air.
I will
When,
tell you
Go
that
ahead.
was not a lot of hard work. That was a copy and paste from an email.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that
Copy and
tidbit.
paste.
Yeah,
Wasn't a lot of work.
but but he added it in here. And I have another example. This was brought up actually. I bring this up on quality calls all the time, especially for my largest producing teams. I really need you guys to hear me on this because every single week, this is a question I ask. How do we know when our accounts have very complex payroll processes when we've enrolled? Okay, so look down on this specific account. I scroll down to the research. Went too far. Let me make my screen a little bit bigger. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, research. Set up the enrollment with General Manager John Lippett. John Langford, CPA, handles the payroll deduction and pays the invoice. Brittany Needham is the contact and services the payroll. So that's what, two different people. Well, you got a decision maker that approved for us to come in. You got a general manager that is the one that we can schedule the enrollments with. And then now you got somebody completely different that we have to deal with deductions and invoicing with. So if we have no way of knowing this information and we're sending people out and they don't understand or know the entirety of the worksite process, yes, you have access to the account. But guys, when you're going and you're setting up these enrollments, this should also be conversation before we even leave that enrollment. Hey, Mrs. Bookkeeper, I know it's the end of the month and I've got the payroll deductions to deliver to you. I just want to confirm that John Langford CPA is still the one that I need to handle the payroll deductions for, and they are the ones that do still remit the invoice every single month. Is that correct? Brittany Needham, she's the one that handles everything. Awesome, great. I just wanted to make sure that information is updated for servicing you guys in the future. Boom. good to go. So now, next enrollment period, we have this accessibility for the next person who's going to service because you may not be the one that may service. You may be at a different enrollment that day and you have to send somebody else by. Now they have the information, the context, the rapport of the entire account that they need to better service the next time they go. And it's not just some new agent coming in, meeting them for the first time and having no idea as to what has taken place or how their payroll process has been in the past. I even know sometimes some of our payroll companies require forms in order to start deductions. That's something that's also good to put in here. So, as you guys can see, I just really want to emphasize on here where he had said, everything where it's housed, so stuff is not bottlenecked, so stuff doesn't get lost, putting ink to paper, or technically text to Epic, so it's kept here for us at all times. And so, guys, as we're getting ready to close here. Gerald, I did have one question for you. Just, obviously you as an agent, you had a bunch of cases. You go into management, you have more as an SA, you have even more as a GA and AD, your largest amount of cases that you've ever had in your career here with us. So seeing Epic, understanding the capability of it now, what would you tell your younger self in your career, especially as you were starting in management, as it pertains to maximizing on the capabilities within this platform for managing enrollments?
You have to simplify that for me again. Say it again.
That was a pretty wordy question.
Yeah.
What would you tell your younger self, especially as you were just stepping into management? Um, how would you better handle your enrollments or manage your enrollments when it comes to Epic?
I got it. So it was chaos coming in because we had just Epic just came in. We wasn't utilizing and we're still not utilizing every feature and function, but it seems like everything's scattered out in different platforms. Emails, a lot of text, a lot of group text, and a lot of communication that has been missed over time. But it just takes just a few minutes to share the information or to share accounts, share the opportunities, so to empower the other, so that they can do their job effectively. And so now they're reporting in instead of me calling and harassing them. Have you done this yet? What's the update on this? What's the update? And that right there is a busy task all by itself. So all I got to do is go to Epic, pull up the account, and if there's nothing there, if I'm not seeing any activity, I know probably there's a good chance contact hasn't been made. So then I can pick up the phone or send a text rather than everything coming to me on all these different directions and then I'm the one that has to put it in Epic. That's the bottleneck effect. We just cannot do that. Then that's all you'll be doing.
Love it. I love it. Just more effectiveness, releasing and empowering our leadership teams, our people to be able to utilize the tools that we already have accessibility to. And guys, as we close more and more cases, I know that the rule is changing this year. We're going to have an increase in closed cases, and so this training was really focused to really help you guys understand how to better manage your enrollments, not just even at the AD level, but from GA to SA to agents, the list views, making sure we're utilizing it in Epic, putting the enrollment dates so we can optimize and maximize it on our routes that we have created for the upcoming weeks and also to house all communication so then that way we can better service our customers, especially when we've already serviced in the past, but just a way to track it. So that way when we go to revisit them or go back to service, go back to do deductions, everything is right here, one-stop shop. We don't no longer have to update new billing information sheets and tag worksite or tag me or have these forms laid out everywhere. All it is simply going in here in your car, in your phone, updating it to make sure that everything is as updated as possible so we can do our job more effectively when it comes to service in the future. Awesome. Any questions? Any thoughts? You could type it into the chat. If you do, I just want to give you guys an opportunity to just ask anything to Gerald or myself before we conclude. So let me just give you guys like 30 seconds to see if there's anybody. Oh, we know Christina's got a question. Always, always. We can't hear you. I mean, you.
Hey, I don't have the stage column. What do I need to do in my list of opportunities to get the stage column?
Oh, good question, Jero. I'm gonna have to share back with you. So, boom.
Yeah, that's not video.
You know what? That was
No,
like a part of our training, and I just bypassed that
no.
because I meant to share that with you guys, but
So while saying that, I think that's why I wasn't able to share because we wasn't in the regular tab because we
okay.
was in that. See, we were in that filtered tab right there,
Yep,
and I
yep, yep.
think I wasn't able to share. We should have been in
Okay.
enrollments this month.
Okay. Yeah, but so okay, so to Gerald's point, so do I have remote access really quickly? And I want to make sure I hurry up and get this done because I don't want to go over time. So, okay, enrollments this month. So what I did, and so you guys can see. All right, so enrollments this month. Everybody can do this that has your own, because this is what Epic has created for your list view, right? If I want to clone it, oh, excuse me, clone it. I clone Epic's view, and I'm just gonna do with shared or stage, excuse me, with stage. I scroll down. I'm just naming it. That's literally me just naming it. Don't mess with any of this stuff in the second column, specify filter criteria, because that's the stuff that is already created by Epic. But what I can do is I can manipulate here at the bottom, the fields, the columns. I could take away agency office number if I don't want to see 142 because or 040, it's already in there. Um, all I need to do is scroll over here to the top. Where does it say? It was stage, stage, stage. Click it and I move it over to the right. And I can even, if I want to put it next to enrollment date, I'm just going to push it up to the top. I'm going to save as. You can go through and you can add and manipulate it however you want based off of like franchise number. Someone said they want a franchise number on there. You can add account number on there. And now I saved it and here it is, stage.
So can you add like the address on there too?
Yep, you can add the address on there. Billing address. Yes.
You go,
Yep,
Michael.
you
You've been
can.
wanting that.
Okay. So that's a really good question. But to Gerald's point, he did say something, I guess, the sharing, the sharing he has to do from his enrollments this month. But you could still do that. Like if I go back to enrollments this month, that's manipulating and changing your stages, making sure that we're maximizing on everything. But from his point, if it does give you that error, guys, then just share from the actual original enrollments this month that you have and it works. I
Can
was
you
just
go?
showing you. Go ahead.
Can you share enrollment next month and then 2 months out and 3 months out?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And here's the thing: when your SAs and your GAs pull up their opportunities, your opportunities will populate in there as well.
And in the phone.
So when they pull their opportunities, the ones that are shared will pull up in their opportunities after I share it.
Correct.
Yes.
Hey, Gerald, is this something
Opportunity
you can
account.
do on your iPad, or do you have to be on your desktop or laptop to be able to do the changing of the staging column?
No, you could
Just the
change
staging.
the staging you could do from your phone. The only thing you have to do from the desktop is sharing the accounts. I know some of you guys have admin that help you. So, like, if you are sitting in your manager's meeting and you're just saying, hey, you're going to work this, you're going to work that, and they're sitting there writing it down, I would get them after the meeting. They go through, they share it. Now they can go through and just print their own policies. I mean, all that is right there for them. All you're doing is releasing. The moment you share it, you're just releasing the tools for them to be able to work it more effectively.
But I will
Okay.
say you can't go to the web base on your phone. If you go to menu, instead of saying mobile, you go to LNL community. It'll open up in an internet browser. And then you log in on the internet browser. You can actually share accounts on your phone if you're logged in that way.
Yep. Yeah. Good
A little
stuff.
bit more
Good
time
question.
consuming, but if you need to
Yeah.
share it and give access, that's better than nothing.
Yep. Good point. All right, guys. Well, hey, if you got any other additional questions, feel free to reach out to Gerald or myself. It is time for us to conclude. I'm going to send this out so you guys can watch it again. I hope it was super beneficial for you guys. Happy New Year to everyone, and I hope you guys all have a blessed weekend. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Ange.
Bye, thanks.